All right, yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Datascape. This is the new Kingdom Hearts podcast on the block. We're in episode 4 now. I thought this would be just a good discussion point to talk about, since this has been the topic of the town over the past couple of months, really. And it still gets brought up, interestingly enough. We're talking about the quote rumored, which we're going to get into in a minute, Disney Smash Bros. Competitor. Disney Domination or Disney Rumble, whatever people want to decide to call it. It doesn't have a name. It doesn't have a developer. It doesn't have anything like that. I'm also here joined by my friend, the Frozen Cavern, who's going to join me in this discussion because I play a lot of Smash with him, and I play a lot of just fighting games in general with him. So he's my go-to when it comes to anything fighting game related. So let's get Cavern. How are you doing, man? Welcome to the stream.
What's going on, people? Glad to be here.
All right. So let's get into this rumor quote about the Disney fighting game. So for starters, I'm gonna just be real, just right off the bat. All right, that's hilarious. Okay, well, you guys just witnessed OBS crashing in real time. That was funny. I mean, it was a really quick fix, but anyways, we're going to talk about this Disney game, this rumored Disney domination game, which personally, if you ask me, I think this is totally fake. Like, I do not think this is real. Like, I absolutely do not think it's real. But you might wonder why I'm covering it then. Well, the reason I'm covering it is because I think it makes for an interesting discussion. A Disney platform fighter. I do actually think Disney will make a platform fighter. I do actually think Disney is going to do one. And I don't think it's this, though. I do not think it's this. I do not think it's developed by what this rumor says it's developed by. Those leaked images of it definitely are not real. But I do believe that there is a Disney platform fire, and it's not based on any sources or information. I am the source, you could say, whatever. I just believe that, like, statistically or whatever you want to say, it makes sense for Disney to want to do one. It makes sense for them to want to do one. Obviously, with the big success that is Smash Bros. And people like Multiverses, Warner Bros. Doing it, you have Nickelodeon take a very bad crack at it, but a crack at it nonetheless. I think Disney is definitely in line to do one, and I think, honestly speaking, Multiverses did a pretty good job standing on its own outside of Smash during its initial hype phase. They struggled with continuation of the game, I feel like, so they struggled to keep everyone interested with the Battle Pass formula, the freemium format. Disney, on the other hand, I think they are actually a competitor, like in this sphere for Nintendo. They could be a competitor in that sphere for Nintendo, because realistically, when you look at things like the Mario movie and how the Mario movie did extremely well. It passed a lot of already popular animated films. It's in the top 5, top 4 right now, and all 3 movies, I believe, that are above the Mario movie, I believe it's Frozen 2, Frozen 1, and Incredibles. All 3 of those are Disney movies, Disney or Pixar. Disney has the characters, they have the IP, they have the interest to build something just as like powerful, just as interesting as Smash Bros. I definitely think so. We all know it. Not only do they have things like Kingdom Hearts, they have plenty of animated properties, plenty of movie properties, Marvel, Star Wars. If they really wanted to make a platform fighter, a good quality one, they could definitely do it. But I'm going to get into this leak. I'm going to read this off to Cavern. Cavern has not heard anything about this. So Disney Domination has apparently, this is from My Nintendo News, Disney has apparently teamed up with Square Enix to develop a new Smash Bros. Inspired video game, which is called Disney Domination. The roster reportedly features up to 55 characters at launch, spanning multiple Disney franchises, which are spread across a single-player campaign that features 60 stages. Disney Domination has apparently been in development since 2018, and started a passion project, but has swelled with a reported team of 240 developers. The launch window for Disney Domination is the second half of 2024. Should we know that this is a rumor and neither companies have announced this project. Uh, Now, this post specifically does not talk about the leaked images or leaked whatever they were that you saw a couple of months ago with like Emperor Buzz Lightyear or something, and like I don't know. I think there was some Star Wars stuff in there. Thanos was in there. Those leaked images aren't mentioned in this, so I don't know if that correlates to this necessarily, or if that's a fake leak. This is a real one, or if this is real, that's fake. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever you want to say. But what do you think about all that, Kevin? How does that sound to you?
Uh, I remember like basically right before the stream started, I was talking about like how Disney has so many properties and the potential for so many different characters that like if their roster is not like somewhat equal to Smash Ultimate's roster initially, they can't really please everyone because of how much they have. Like you have all the various Disney princesses, and then you have uh Pixar, and then you have Star Wars and Marvel, which I guess in a sense makes it very easy to add additional characters later on down the line with like DLC and stuff. But with the leak being uh with it saying that there's 55 characters, that's a decent amount. I don't know if that will still cover everything because I haven't really thought about what would go into a roster for a Disney platform fighter, but uh that definitely does sound like a lot still, as well as 60 different stages. I'm honestly more surprised by the 60 stages thing.
Yeah. Someone in chat said, I highly doubt that it will take 6.5 years for a company as big as Disney to make a platform fighter. I don't really think that matters when it comes to game development time. Games are only taking longer to make nowadays rather than shorter. So I know you guys may see big company and think, oh, that means this must, they can make a crazy AAA experience in like 2, 3 years. Some companies can, not all companies can necessarily do that, especially when they're building something from the ground up, especially something like a fighting game. Fighting games actually take quite a bit to develop, especially fighting games with lots of characters, especially fighting games with lots of content and stages. Like, fighting games are no light project. You may see a lot of indie fighting games around there, but even those indie fighting games, a lot of them aren't finished, and a lot of them have been developed, worked on by that person or by that small group of people for years. Like, fighting games are not, they're not easy to make. They definitely are not, especially platform fires. Platform fires might be one of the hardest like things to make when it comes to like a fighting game. Um, I would debatably say at least. I don't know what the statistics are on that. I'm not a game developer, of course, but when it comes to Disney, regardless of Disney's size, like they're I don't know they still have to hire a team of game developers, like 240 people. That that's a pretty big team, or a pretty decent sized team, but like I could see a game. I could see any game taking like 6 years. Like, shoot, we just had Tears of the Kingdom release. Nintendo's a big company, a super big company. They just made $1 billion movie. Like, I don't know. How many years did Tears of the Kingdom take them to make? They probably started working on it like a year or two after Breath of the Wild, which came out in what 2016, 17, something like that. 2017, I think. I don't know. You could say they've been working on Tears of the Kingdom debatably since Breath of the Wild came out. So that I don't know. That could be almost 6 years there. Uh, there's just a lot that goes into games. A lot that goes into games. No Soul Calibur character creator, that's for sure. And they're not doing no character creator. I doubt that. So I'm gonna ask your opinion. Do you think this is a real leak? Just be honest with you. I'm just be honest with me. I personally don't think it's that. I don't think this leak specifically is real. I do not think Disney's going to make a game called Disney Domination, and it's I don't know. A lot of this stuff is just like okay, too good to be true type of thing, especially for a rumor.
I really don't believe that is real, mainly because like 55 characters at launch is like surprising, even though that's like something I would want because of how much like property they have, but that's just kind of unrealistic. And then also Square Enix, I don't think has any experience with platform fighters. Maybe they have experience with making fighting games, just like standard 2D ones. Even then, I'm not fully sure on that.
They've
But
done Dissidia, and they worked on a game called, or published a game rather, called Million Arthur, because I know Team Arcana was kind of like working with them a little bit, but I don't think they have any major fighting game experience in terms of like what we look at as fighting games, like the Street Fighters, the Tekkens. I don't think they have nothing like that under their belt.
okay, but uh, since they've made Dissidia, and the last time they worked on Dissidia was Dissidia NT, which kind of killed that franchise, if I'm being honest. I don't exactly trust Square Enix to be at the front handles when it comes to making a platform fighter. Again, since they have like next to no experience with making that. But I mean, anything's possible technically, but whether it be good or not is very, very debatable.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that, admittedly, 55 characters. I think if they did release a fighting game, they probably should release like a full roster like that. But I feel like if they made a fighting game, they're probably, I think the 60, like I don't know, the market for just like a straight up $30-$60 fighting game, um I partially want to say like there's still a lot of interest in it, of course, but I think there's clear, winners in that market. Like when you buy a Street Fighter game for $60, or a Tekken game for like $60, or I don't know, any of the big fighting game names, you can, what you're getting, and those games already have an established fan base. There's an issue when it comes to new fighting games growing and like offering that sort of price tag, especially nowadays when you have so many like games going the freemium route. Any type of multiplayer game, and I think fighting games are definitely going to be going that route, and they're already trying to. Games like Multiverses tried it, and while a lot of people may call Multiverses a failure or whatever you want to say, that game's probably going to come back, and it's probably going to hit out the park when they come back. They're probably going to come back with hecka content, hecka stages, hecka everything you guys probably have been wanting from the game in terms of updates after they shut down and come back early next year. So I think that the freemium route, if done right, is going to be very lucrative for them. They've also done, they're already going that route anyways with some games they've already made. Games like Disney Dreamlight, games like Disney Speedstorm. Although these games are in early access right now, they plan on making them free to play eventually, which they we'll see what happens. I don't like the whole early access into free to play thing, like paying $30, $40, however much you end up paying to get access to the game before it comes out, and then having to go free to play like a year later. I'm not a fan of that, but that's what Disney's been doing recently. I could see them doing a similar thing with a platform fighter, a fighting game. Also, they also did some like MOBA thing, I think, beforehand. What was it? They did some like Apple Arcade MOBA. I have not played it at all. I haven't had a chance to because it was on Apple Arcade. But I don't know if you remember that. It was around like a similar time Pokemon Unite came out.
I do not remember that.
I remember seeing like Moana and like some of these other characters in there. It was like a small roster. I think it was even simpler than Pokemon Unite. But I remember that like coming out around that time. But I only point that out because that shows to me that Disney definitely has an interest in more like crossover stuff, like within their own universes. Of course, everything's under the Disney umbrella, but generally speaking, outside of games like Kingdom Hearts, a lot of these other Disney characters usually they don't mix that often. Most you'll see them mix might be like Disney World or something, or on some merch, or maybe like an ad here and there. But you're not going to see that often in a game or a show. Outside of Kingdom Hearts, which is what's pretty cool about Kingdom Hearts. We love Kingdom Hearts over here, but I don't know, man. It's a little weird. Like this whole idea of it is a little weird. This idea of them making a fighting game. I think right now they're not going to do it. I think like a year or two from now, I could probably see it happening. I think this leak is definitely bogus, and it's not. I don't think this leak's real. If it is, I will eat my words. I'll be happy to eat my words. 55 characters at launch. Well, how many characters Disney has? That's a good number for them. That's a really good number for them. That means we should get a pretty decent roster, especially with everything they have: Marvel, Star Wars, Disney Animation, the Disney Princesses, Kingdom Hearts. Like they could make a roster that could body just most video game rosters, most fighting game rosters. Period.
I'm just hoping that like if Disney is working on a platform fighter, which is entirely possible, I of course hope that it's good, but like for those of you that don't know me, I play like license-based games and review them, and like a lot of them from the past, including like Disney ones, racing ones, fighting games, they tend to not be all that great for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
But uh, times have changed to where people are typically putting a lot more care into them. And with a company like Disney that has as much money, uh, I'm assuming that they'd be able to put a decent amount of care into the game. But uh, as again, with my experience, it's just really difficult to like be entirely optimistic about the idea of how well it would actually be.
Yeah, I we haven't talked too much about who's developing it here. We talked a little bit earlier, but I don't think I can't see Square making a platform file. Like, that sounds too weird to me. That might be the weirdest part of this leak. Like, out of everything, 55 characters. Yeah, if they want to compete with Smash, I'm sure Disney knows. They're not dumb. I'm sure they know that they have to like have a big character roster, especially if they're trying to study fighting games to understand what makes a good fighting game. Roster's probably like number one, right, for a fighting game. Even over on mechanics and everything else. To my displeasure, I'll admit, because I definitely care a little bit more about mechanics than roster. Like, I'll take like a 20 character roster with like a super balanced and fun game over like, I don't know, 50, 60 characters, however many characters you add to your game, and the game's kind of just like a mess of like balance and goofy mechanics. I don't know. It makes a game that's it makes for a game that's not that fun competitively or to take a little seriously, but does make for a fun game casually. Uh, I the people who have been making a lot of Disney's games recently is Gameloft. They're the ones that have done Disney Dreamlight. They're the ones that have done Disney Speedstorm, and I think they've done a couple of other things too. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe they did that. Maybe they were the developers of that MOBA that like Disney did that I mentioned before. I don't know. Disney has been working with Gameloft on a lot of these like freemium games and a lot of these multiplayer games, or well, I don't know. They've been working closely with them. So I would imagine if a Disney platform fighter was being made, that why wouldn't Gameloft do it? It's interesting. Not that Gameloft has any experience with fighting games by any means that I've seen, but it's interesting that they would just go to like another company, even if it's another company that like they do have trust in as well, like Square Enix. It's just a bizarre choice, don't you think? And I don't know. It's a bizarre choice to me a little bit. Like I feel like it's a little odd, a little bit. But maybe they wanted Kingdom Hearts in it. Maybe they wanted Kingdom Hearts in a platform fighter, and they're like, okay, yo, let's make Sora like the leading charge for this game since he had such a big reveal on Smash. Let's make him the character in this game. So let's have Square do it since they know what they're doing with Kingdom Hearts and they can do everything else. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't see Square being the one to make it.
I really don't. And you know how crazy of a name Disney Domination is, by the way? That name is like kind of. I don't know. That name's goofy to me. Disney Domination. It's almost like I don't know. It's like too aware of like what Disney is in my head. Disney Domination. May I'm
I,
reading too much into it.
I think it's not even like just that. It's also just because like I think for like a while Disney was like kind of against their characters like being violent or something like that.
Yeah, that was like early 2000s. But yeah, that was a thing.
But who knows? Maybe they like got over that a lot more, especially as like Kingdom Hearts became bigger.
Yeah, I think they don't care that much anymore about that because not only because of Kingdom Hearts, but you also have games like Mirrorverse, for example. I don't that's like a Disney mobile game that they've done, which is screwed renders from actually, and that's an action game where all the Disney characters do is fight and fight each other and whatnot. That's a completely action like edgy based game, so Disney was perfectly fine with that, like for a mobile game. So I don't know. I see no reason why they would care about that anymore. I think they don't care about that sort of thing as much. I think it more so depends on how their IP is represented. So like you can have these different interpretations of Disney characters and have these like other games and stuff that use them. But I think what's important to them probably is that the IP is still like, that the IP Disney characters still the Disney characters are not like something drastically like different or crazy. Maybe edged up a little bit, or like maybe they make them look a little cooler like in Mirrorverse, but I don't know. I think that's like kind of like the limit, the gauge of them a little bit, as long as it like fits. Apparently, this game, some other rumors, there will be a lounge and Disney domination where players can go to share custom stages and other content. It will boast a unique art style that looks like something out of Unreal Engine 5, and it's supposed to be edgy. I don't know. I don't. I definitely don't see a edgy Disney platform fighter, but maybe. I mean, that'd be odd.
Yeah, I feel like that's even more suspicious if I'm being honest. That and sharing custom stages. Like I would not imagine that they would allow you to make custom stages.
Um, I could see them doing it. I just think it would be like super limited. I think Disney would be way more limited than Nintendo would with that sort of thing. Disney Heroes has characters fight each other every 5 minutes. I don't know what Disney Heroes is, but that sounds about right. I'm sure it's another like mobile game or something. Does anyone know why Sora isn't really featured in Disney crossover games outside of Kingdom Hearts that much? Uh, I imagine it has a lot to do with different people working on it, and they probably don't want to bother Square Enix with it, or Square Enix doesn't want to bother with it. Like that's what I would imagine. Like have we ever even seen like a Disney interpretation of Sora? Like has that been something that's like released or come out?
Uh, not really, unless we're counting his Kingdom Hearts iterations also as Disney versions, but anything outside of like what we know him as,
As in like
not really, I guess.
as in like drawings or renders not like approved by Nomura. I think like the only one would probably be VCast, right? VCast, because that was a real thing. VCast was like a Verizon thing, and then I know Square did not have like any involvement in VCast. And obviously that game, went where it did.
Apparently people are saying Disney Emoji Blitz had Sora in it, which
Oh yeah, you're right. It did. You're right. Yep.
yeah, I mean even then that doesn't necessarily feel like Disney. That feels more like it's just the emoji thing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I guess we've had him in like Disney and Modi Blitz, and we've had like little crossovers. Usually, when Sora's in like a Disney collaboration, if it's something like that, like small like that, they usually try to treat it with like some respect. So I don't know. I think they probably just don't want to bother Square with it because I read in like some interviews that when it comes to Nomura and the relationship they have with Nara at Disney. They have a lot of respect for him. So whenever Sora is used, like period, like Nomura's contacted, even if they technically don't have to do it, it's just about like maintaining a healthy relationship type thing. So like they want to make sure that that's that. Disney also does appreciate Kingdom Hearts a lot. They they do see Sora as like their video game character, but outside of that, they haven't really tried using him in other media. And admittedly, it's understandable why, because when you think about it, they did try to early on, like with the TV pilot. Um, Disney tried to do their own thing with VCast a little bit, and I think there was a couple of other things. I don't know. Disney early on, especially on Kingdom Hearts One, tried to like have Sora or tried to use Kingdom Hearts in like other ways, but Square wasn't that involved, and the project didn't go through super well. So I imagine they probably learned from like all that time ago and just kind of like, all right, let's just let Kingdom Hearts be. Let them tell their story. Let that be its own thing over there. Yeah, it has our characters in it, but let's just have that be its own thing. And yeah, like they try to let Square mostly take the reins when it comes to Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts related stories.
I'm also trying to think of like how the gameplay of it would be because I know the leak doesn't really give any like specific details about it, but I'm wondering if it's gonna be more like just traditional Smash Brothers like, or if there's gonna be like some additional other mechanics like with multiverses and stuff like that, like perk system, uh character unique uh abilities and stuff like that.
What the mechanics be like? I don't think it'd be something super technical. It depends on who makes it. If Square's making it, it'll probably have some tech. I feel like if Square's making it, it'll probably be a very movement based game. Probably really movement and kind of combo focused in like a different way, maybe like a little gimmicky. Um, if Game Loft tried making it, then I think I don't know. I think they would probably try to replicate Smash while also trying to do their own thing. They would definitely give. They would definitely try to make it gimmicky. I think Disney would 100% try to make it gimmicky. There will probably be some like big system mechanic in the game that every character has a different version of. Like I don't know. I think of like Speedstorm, even though it's not a fighting game by any means. Um, that they're like the route they went with that game was very interesting in terms of how they did skills. I could kind of see them doing like some big system mechanic like that that kind of encapsulates the game. It might be a kind of a Nintendo situation where Nintendo tried making Mario TV shows, but they flopped, and we didn't get another attempt at something outside of the games till now. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I think that might be what it is.
Yeah, I think the Mario movie is definitely going to influence some things, but that's definitely going to take quite a bit of time, especially considering this whole writers strike thing that's going on around right now.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going on. I hope we get a KH movie eventually though out of all of that because I think like I think Kingdom Hearts will make a banger movie. Made a video about it recently. I think that would go hard. Hopefully the Mario movie inspires more companies, maybe inspires Square Enix, maybe inspires Disney to be like, hey, okay, let's make our own Mario movie. Let's do a Kingdom Hearts movie. Not that Kingdom Hearts competes by any means with Mario, so I do not think it will do that well. But who knows? Cage. I think just making Cage more popular through like movies, through shows, is a very good tactic, and it's something I would like to see. I kind of just want to see a show version of Cage. I just want to know what that would be like. Like even if it's like mediocre, bad, whatever, I want to know what it would be like, so I can like have that information for reference. If it's bad, show will be finished, and we'll be like, "I right, don't ever make a Cage show again or movie again." And if it's good, then we live in Regardless, I don't think if it's bad that it would affect the game that much. I think it would probably just it would be a little bit of a stain for a while, depending on how bad it is. But I think a lot of people would just be like, movie was kind of crap. All right, back to KH4 or 5, wherever we're at by then. Probably 5. And the idea of Kingdom Hearts come to be because Nara wanted a game with a character that could rival Mario, and the only one that came to mind was Mickey Mouse. Yeah, yeah, that is what Nomura wanted to do with Kingdom Hearts. He wanted a character that rivaled Mario. Yep, that's
Which is
almost
very
exactly what he
funny
wanted.
considering where we are now.
Yeah, that is actually the storyline for like Kingdom Hearts, which is insane. When you think of like Sora and Smash and all that stuff, it's kind of it is wild. It is a wild story. Isn't Disney's popular video game character Sora? Yeah, I mean that is their most popular video game character, I would say. But I just wanted to talk about this topic a little bit. I don't know. I plan on making like a video about this tomorrow. I'll make like a goofy video about this. Let's talk about the Disney fighting game that's rumored. We had all these like little clips and stuff going around that look. They definitely look like Smash Bros. Monsters. They just look goofy. They're very smeared. They fit all the context of a leaked image. They're like very low quality. You can barely tell what's going on. This is goofy, but thank you, Cavern, for coming to the stream and talking to me about this, man. Me and Cavern have something we're going to be doing soon as well, which should be a lot of fun. But, anyways, hope you guys have a good night. Peace out.